I am a researcher and I researched Larry Sinkler. Larry is a linguistics professor at the University of Michigan and he is still alive. He's 73 years old. His research led to the modern second language acquisition. And he also had the idea in 1972 of interlanguage, and it's basically where you take your first language and your second language, and it crosses, and you came up. You can talk like no, I mean like I no like instead of I don't like. It's kind of just how the language crosses. And he also come up with fossilization.
So I was also a researcher. I chose to do Noam Chomsky beforehand. So the research I found before I actually did the reading was that Noam Chomsky was known as the father of modern linguistics. And while reading, I noticed that his cognitive revolution was actually mentioned. It was used in theories, but he was never mentioned for it. What he was mentioned for was the universal grammar, which is where Chomsky believed that, like Larry, the child has the ability to make an infinite number of sentences. However, as we grow up, we tend to overthink our sentences, and so our sentence number actually goes down. And the other thing that Chomsky is known for is he compared a human to a kitten, like a baby to a kitten, and as it grew up, whatever the human was able to do that the kitten lacked the ability to do was called LAD, which is like language acquisition device. And I found that really interesting.
Wow, that's great. I was the learner, and in reading all of this, going off of what the researchers found, I found out that as a learner, there are a lot of different avenues that you can take when you're learning a second language, and learning a second language is very difficult. There are so many different things that you can do, or so many different avenues that you can take. And there is the idea that younger children or children can learn better than adults, but the adults can bring in their own ideas and their own knowledge about the world as they're learning. So it gives them a benefit there, but you could hit the too old to learn kind of idea that's out there right now.
So as a teacher, what do you feel about that?
Well, as a teacher, I was reading those two books and I realized that they are talking about the same topic but with different approaches. It's like the black book they including explanation, definition, while the green book with example and figures, which is really easy to understand. And when I reading the books, I found out this one interesting thing is the language transfer, including positive transfer and negative transfer. You will find out the relationship between the first language and the second language, and thanks to it, you can understand a little bit about your learner, and you will have your learner easier to apply the second language.
Okay, yeah, I was another teacher, and I realized that the second language acquisition was a very complex, process. So as a teacher, we need to pick up very useful information, and I think the input and interaction part is really practical for teachers to use in their classrooms, and the teacher should input the useful and the more valuable information to their students, and they should highlight the interaction part to their students so that they can come out more useful output from their students.
Okay.